Telling you that the entire country is very happy that you are here.
I've thanked you, yes.
Having participated actively as a planner, as an executor.
I was co-opted.
As probably a prospective beneficiary of the coup of 1966. And in fact, this is not in dispute because even in your book, I am very impressed by the way you summarized it at the epitome, and I would just like to read a portion out of it.
Please do so.
Now, you said as follows, that the coup d'etat of 1966, which has had a fundamental and permanent impact on the political and social life of Nigeria, has generated a good deal of literature. Much, if not all, of such literary output has been based mostly on second-hand accounts and on mere half-truths often colored by prejudice and misguided sentiments. Then you went further to say, in Nigeria's 5 measures, which you wrote,
yes,
one of the key planners and executors of the coup gives the first ever factual first-hand inside account.
Beautiful.
Now, I agree with you in respect of this analysis in the sense that you have confessed as a witness of truth, even right here on earth,
yes,
that you were one of those that plunged this country into the catastrophe we're in right now.
Certainly not. That's
Listen, witness. Listen, witness.
Sir,
listen, witness. Let me ask you.
Can I say something? I never said any
witness.
such thing.
Listen to me. Just you've answered in the negative.
The January coup was
Listen to me.
as a result of other events.
Will you agree with me that the January 15, 1966 coup had eventually led to the emergence of the Civil War?
No. Let's start from the beginning. You must go from the genesis. The genesis is the killings, political killings in Nigeria, both in the West and in the TV area. All right? The killings, then of course, the other headed problems Nigeria had caused the coup of January 66.
Yes, I have heard that.
The January 66 attracted the July coup. The July coup attracted the creation of states. The creation of states attracted Biafra. Biafra attracted the war, not the January 66.
What I am
There is a
telling you,
conglomeration of events, and you must take them into consideration.
You see, what I want you to understand is one event led to the other.
Beautiful.
Right from the nationalistic days before the independence
Yes.
in this country.
Yes.
This country had been living in harmony, in peace, and not in pieces.
That is not true.
Wait a minute. Now, are you aware of a book written by Chief Obafemi Awolowo, his autobiography?
I'm not aware of it.
You are not, you have never seen this book?
I have never set eyes on it.
But you know Awolowo, late Awolowo.
Of course I know Awolowo.
Yes, and you are not aware of this book, which touches...
Awolowo is entitled to his opinion. I don't know what you are getting at.
I agree. You will also agree with me that this document, this literature work, which is an exhibit before this court,
yes,
is also entirely your opinion.
It's partly my opinion and partly my experience.
Yes, that is your
partly
opinion.
My opinion, partly my experience.
I am not asking you for the substratum of this book, but I'm telling you it is your own personal opinion. I'm not asking you for the reasons.
I am giving a story the way I saw it. I am not making any judgment.
Now, I will read a portion of this book.
It is not relevant to me.
It will be relevant. You don't even know what I'm saying. You have made up your mind as to what to say. Listen to me. I'm going to tell you something out of this text, and I want you to agree with it or disagree with it. You don't know whether you will even agree with it. Right. It's not everything I say that you disagree with it. Please listen to me. This is a book written by Chief Awolowo before he died about his autobiography. I will later tender the book to the appropriate person, but I want to have the benefit of you listening to what is there so that we can have your opinion.
Let me.
Now, in this book by Chief Obafemi Awolowo at page 172, there is a statement credited to late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, and it goes as follows.
Yes.
Besides, in spite of his protestations to the contrary, Dr. Azikiwe was himself an unabashed Igbo jingoist. And he gave the game completely away when he said, inter alia, in his presidential address to the Igbo Federal Union in 1949, as follows. He is quoting from what Zik said in a speech at a lecture. It will appear that the God of Africa has specially created the Igbo nation to lead the children of Africa from the bondage of the ages. The martial prowess of the Igbo nation at all stages of human history has enabled them not only to conquer others, but also to adapt themselves to the role of preserver. The Igbo nation cannot shirk its responsibility. Politically, you have seen with your own eyes how you were disenfranchised by the British. The Igbo nation has never been represented in the Executive Council. Economically, the Igbo nation has labored under onerous taxation measures without sufficient social amenities to justify same. We have been taxed without representation, and our contributions in taxes have been used to develop other areas out of proportion to the incidence of taxation in those areas. It will seem that the Igbo nation is becoming a victim of economic annihilation through a gradual but studied process. This was a quotation, and then Awolowo himself went further to say as follows. In 1948, another Igbo leader and a member of the Nigerian Legislative Council had declared the domination of Nigeria by the Igbos is a question of time. It was clear from these statements and from general political and journalistic maneuvers of Dr. Azikiwe over the years that his great objective was to set himself up as a dictator over Nigeria and to make the Igbo nation the master race. It will appear, according to his reckoning, that the only obstacle in the path of his ambition was the Yoruba intelligentsia, and this must be removed at all costs. A situation in which one ethnic group will dominate the others does not accord with my conception of a united and happy Nigeria. Thank you. I am implacably opposed to dictatorship, as well as the doctrine of Herrenvolk, whether it was Hitler's or that of Azikwe's. Now, from this text I read out, yes, will you agree with me that that grand design had been there ever since?
So what you are trying,
I didn't write it. I didn't write it.
I should agree that Zik said that. What Awolowo quoted.
Well,
and you know that this is Awolowo that booted Zik out of the
I didn't write
house.
It. I didn't write it.
And you are saying I should agree.
I am asking you, what is your opinion? Just
your opinion, I mean, the question shouldn't have arisen.
Are you in a position to say
the question is, and this is not for you because I can't ask you questions. The question Nigerians will address their minds to should be, is Zik or was Zik before his death a true Nigerian or a tribalist? Of course not.
Listen. That is not the issue.
Like we all have as a tribalist. So it is in bad taste.
We all have our respect for Zik. We all have our reverence for Zik. That is not the issue.
And you know that Awolowo has never seen eye to eye with Zik.
Please listen. You are to answer my questions,
you are asking
not to ask me questions.
Support Awolowo against Zik.
You are asking me questions.
I will do no such thing. And I even doubt that Awolowo wrote it.
Now, come. Now, look. I want you to reconcile your last statement when you asked me whether I wanted you to support Awolowo against Zik. Why then did you tell us this afternoon? Yes. Just some few minutes ago. Yes. When you were being asked by the other council.
I will answer it.
That the major object of that coup was to appoint Awolowo as the president of
Beautiful.
Prime Minister. Yes, Prime Minister.
To appoint him.
Yes.
That is
now,
please,
can you
answer this question?
Yes, I'm listening.
Because there are too many things at issue here. Now, Awolowo was to be appointed to lead a government. That is why I said, therefore, it must be the Yorubas who are using us. Read my book. Therefore, the Yorubas were using us. And you read what Onwatogu said in answer to that. Read it.
Look.
I want you to be.
Look. Yes, madam.
Attention. I ask everybody to have this.
Yes, madam.
In view of number one, how does this affect your own client, so that we can make progress. You can tender all the things they said and then address us on them. No, number one of the agreement reached after your submissions in the morning. If you want, I read it to you again. Representation by counsel. Commission accepts that under Section 18 of the Tribunals of Inquiry Act, anybody mentioned in a petition has a right to representation by counsel. The only question that will arise is that such counsel should restrict himself, not itself, only to issues affecting his client, either in his response or in cross-examination. If we are going to throw this overboard, then we open the door wide. And I've told counsel before that there's certain things called, notorious facts.
My lord, yes, my lord, in as much as
I'm trying to wind up all this, yes. You can go on for 20 days. We go on, listen.
No, my lord, I have been on for just about 30 minutes. In the next 30 minutes, I'll be through. I don't need more than an hour to be through with this witness. Yes, witness.
Go ahead.
You are aware that there are different commissions in the Nigerian Army. Different types of commission. We have the regular combatant commission.
You can't tell me.
You are aware more than me. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, I know more than you.
Yeah, you know that more than me. I agreed. I concede to that.
I'm aware.
Yes, you have about 4. Now, you will agree with me that Ojukwu was initially not a regular combatant commission. He was converted.
He was
a short service.
He was direct short service
commission. Agreed.
Direct short service, because
I agreed.
He came from the university.
I agree. You've answered it. You've answered it. Now the same thing goes to late General
Sir.
Yeah, the same question goes to General Ironsi. He was also not.
He was not.
He was not
short service. He was just short service commission.
Agreed, but not a regular combatant.
Of course, he was.
Of course, regular. Yes. Now, but what about General Gawan?
He was regular, just as I was.
Agreed. Now, do you know why Ojukwu refused to succumb to the?
Ojukwu said he was senior to Gawan.
Yes. Will you agree to that?
Why shouldn't I agree? But you see,
despite the fact.
I said, why shouldn't I agree? But the point is not whether whether Ojukwu was senior to Gawan or not. Once there is a coup, even if he's a lieutenant taking over government, you don't start confronting the lieutenant, you get killed. So that is where I disagree with Ojukwu, and he knows.
In terms of seniority, I put it to you that Gawan was senior to him by virtue of the fact that he was a regular combatant army officer.
You don't do seniority that way.
It's okay, I've heard you.
It is not the way seniority is done.
I have heard you.
If Ojukwu was a colonel when Gawan was a lieutenant, Gawan could climb up and reach Ojukwu's rank.
Do you remember?
But still became inferior.
I have heard you. Let's make progress. Do you remember Colonel Adebayo's committee?
Which Adebayo's committee? I know Adebayo of the former chief of staff.
Yes, there was a committee headed by him after the coup.
Oh, after the coup?
After the civil war, yes, after the civil war.
Not after the coup,
yes.
After the civil war.
Yes.
Okay. I attended that board.
Yeah, yes. You appeared before him?
Oh, yes, of course.
You remember the sanctions? You remember the report? Anything? Do you remember any part of the report?
I was thrown into jail again. You said so.
What was the recommendation in respect to your person by that committee?
To be detained.
Apart from that, what about your rank?
I didn't know about the rank, but Nigeria published what they call Nigeria 1966 with regard to events of both the war and the coup. And I was said to have been sacked. But only lately, the head of state, the present head of state, made statement to the effect that all dismissals will be converted to retirement. And we are expecting for this thing to be clarified. So until that is done by the army headquarters, I don't think we should say anything about it.
It's all right. I have heard you. Now, General, that takes me to the final issue on your book. Now, you see, there is this controversy which goes around whether or not that January 15, 1966 coup can be referred to an entire Igbo affair or an Igbo coup.
It is not an Igbo affair.
I agreed. I have not asked you the question.
You know it's not.
Yes. I know naturally you will say it's not an Igbo coup. Now, but I want to ask you a few questions.
Please,
see whether you will
feel
agree
free,
with me.
please.
You see, in this your book,
Yes.
you wrote about the 5 majors.
Yes.
And of all the 5 majors,
Yes.
only one was not an Igbo.
Beautiful. You are right.
Okay.
You are very right.
Yes. And the one who was not an Igbo is, what do you call his name? General Ademoyega.
He was never a general.
Yeah. Major.
Thank you.
Yes. Adewale Ademoyega.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, while you were giving evidence before this commission, while it was sitting in Enugu, you told this horrible commission that Major Abisoye is a typical Yoruba man. You said so. I have the cassette. It's here. You said Yoruba man.
Well,
I want to put
only because he typifies Yoruba people.
Wait a minute.
Yes,
I want
okay.
to put it to you that he is not Yoruba. He is Ogori in Magongo in Kogi State.
Okay.
Do you agree? Do you withdraw that statement?
If
Probably you said it out of ignorance.
based on information,
Yes.
I am wrong. If you are correct.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you. I made a research.
Because
on
you
it.
see, he was my
It's
classmate.
all right. It's all right.
He went to Keshi
Now-
and we assumed that he was a
Okay.
Yoruba man. And I'm happy that he
For-
was the one who wrote forward to the book, Ademoyega's book.
Listen, having agreed, listen, witness, having agreed
Yes.
that 4 out of the 5 leaders of that coup plot
Yes.
were Igbos.
Yes. It is correct.
Yes. Will you agree with me that and having agreed also in your papers in
Yes.
the exhibit submitted by Ohaneze
Yes.
that we have about over 400 nationalities
I
in
agree
Nigeria,
with you. Yes, yes.
which I understand that to mean tribes and different dialects in this country.
Yes.
Will you agree with me that 80% of the leaders of that coup were Igbos?
Even if it's 85,
Agreed.
it's not an Igbo coup.
And you still don't call it an Igbo coup?
Of course it isn't.
Now-
Because Ademoyega claimed that there were only 3 who planned the whole thing.
Yes.
We were co-opted.
Listen.
I hope you understand. We were co-opted.
Listen, having agreed to that, and you recall that the coup took place in Kaduna, in the north, being the headquarters of northern region, in Ibadan, being the headquarters.
You are very right.
Yes, and in Lagos as well, but not at Enugu or in any part
It
of
took
the
place at Enugu and in the Midwest,
I'm not
but they
referring-
were not effective.
I'm not referring to the coup. I'm referring to the coup, not civil war, not the
The
other.
coup took place at Enugu, and I told you that Jallo took over the radio station, didn't I?
Were there killings?
We agreed.
Were there killings of
I
any?
told you that there was no question of definitive agreement on killings. I told you.
Now I put it. Yes.
Trained at this juncture to interrupt the cross-examination.
Why?
Well, because he's violating council agreed this morning. If I'm
I've shown them the agreement. They want to go on. Let them go on. Let's make progress.
all right, my lord, if it pleases your lordship.
He hasn't finished.
My lord,
Let him finish. Then
it will assist the commission because this way we will be.
I will tell him.
Otherwise, I will pray, my lord, to now abrogate the accord we have reached this morning, because my lord has already accepted, and we all abide by it. Each council should cross-examine on points touching on affecting its client. This way we are going around.
An SAN, you know.
I'm addressing the commission. I'm not addressing the SN. The
I don't
commission-
know whether junior council can advise an SAN.
No, my lord. I am addressing the commission so that the commission can intervene. My lord.
Yes. Thank you, my lord, for the. My lord, thank you for the protection. I will consider he has the right to talk, but my lord, I would like your lordship to recall, to remember, one of the aims of cross-examination is to it's all
The
right. Let
book
me
on
proceed.
cross-examination.
It's all right.
You can't tell me about the aims. I
It's
know
all right.
all the
It's
aims.
all right, my lord. Now, witness,